here. Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. I am just gonna take a moment to set up my Instagram live. Alrighty, let's get started. Hello everyone. Jav here from Cotton Made Crafts and the founder of the SVG Superstar Coaching Program, where I teach crafters with a full-time job how to make extra cash from selling SVG cut files by just working 20 hours or less. So if you guys are interested, stay for the live session today. Today, we are going to be talking about the mistakes to avoid when using and designing SVG cut files. So this is a 30-day live series where I will be talking everything about creating and designing SVGs so you can start a successful SVG designing business, SVG business. You can become a successful SVG entrepreneur by just following the tips that I share in the next 30 days. So if you are someone who's working a full-time job and you want to make extra cash without putting too much on your plate, then this is a series for you. So today's the third day. The first day I talked about what SVGs are and what makes them different to other design files, other kind of files. If you haven't checked that out, you can check that out. You can have a look at that live session once I'm done, because it's extremely important to understand the difference between a PNG and an SVG. So somebody is asking, is this a paid class? No, this is a free class. The paid class is on Saturday, and if you're interested in joining, you can leave a comment or you can message me. So today we're talking about, yesterday we talked about, what did we talk about yesterday? Why SVGs are the bomb right now. Why you should get into the SVG business. What are the demands in the future for SVGs, and what is the future going to look like for an SVG designer. And based on the stats from different websites, from different statistics website and business website, we have seen that the demand for the laser cutting machine industry is going to increase by 9% every year. And then the demand for the t-shirt businesses is the number of t-shirt businesses are also going to increase in the next upcoming years. That means there's a high demand for SVGs. So if you get into SVGs now, there are 100% chances of your business being profitable if you do it the right way. So today we are going to be talking about the mistakes that you need to avoid when you're using SVGs, when you're designing SVGs for personal use or even for commercial use. So let's dive straight in. And before I begin, just an announcement. On Saturday, I will be hosting a paid workshop with only 20 people where I will show you live, and you're going to be designing with me how to create SVGs for t-shirts. So if you're interested, feel free to leave a comment or check out the link in the description. This is a one-time masterclass. It will be a 4-hour Zoom session. So everybody gets to be online, and you get to design the SVGs with me live. So if you get stuck, if you need to ask questions, if you need tips on how to make professional files that are actually going to sell, and how to get more sales and everything, if you're interested, then sign up for the 4-hour workshop. It's specially designed for those who cannot afford my premium programs. My premium program, which is going to be $2,000 next month. If you can't afford that program, this is a great way to learn something from me at a much cheaper price. So go ahead and check out the link in the description. All right, so let's talk about the mistakes that a lot of people do when using SVGs, when designing SVGs. So the number one mistake that I've seen people making is using images directly off of Google. So one thing we need to understand is everything about copyright and trademark, right? Copywriting, what does copywriting mean? What does trademarking mean? So based on the copyrights, none of the images on the internet belong to us unless we created them ourselves, all right? So it belongs, all the images that you see on Google belongs to the original creator. And the creator of the images is the owner of those images. And we cannot just go around and grab somebody's image and start using them as if they were our own. So a lot of people, what they do is they just Google something and they start using that image for creating t-shirts, for creating mugs, for creating tumblers. I mean, it's wrong on personal basis as well as on commercial level. So once you start selling those things made from Google Images, then you might get into trouble. And I have a proper masterclass on how to avoid getting into trouble with copyright and trademark issues in my program, SVG Superstar Coaching Program. It was hosted by an attorney, and it's an official masterclass which you can have a look at if you're starting an SVG business. So anyway, so that's one thing you need to understand. Not all images on Google are free for you to use. If you use them and you start selling things made from them, it's actually, you have committed a crime because you have used somebody else's property as your own, right? Like, you don't expect somebody to just barge into your house and start using your toilet or your kitchen. Just like that, you can't just go around grabbing people's images off of Google and start using them as your own. You need to get the permission. You need to get the license, especially if you are selling if you're selling your designs, if you're selling your teas, you need to have that commercial license to use that design and make t-shirts out of them and sell them. Okay, so that's number one thing. That's one of the mistakes that people make. The second mistake people make is they think that if they just grab a bunch of images from Google, from free websites, from free blogs, and just make some minor editing to them, they're good to go. Again, a big no. You can't just take somebody's image and make some little changes and call it your own. No, that's a big no. Because as long as the image has around 80 to 90% similarity to the original image, it's still the original image. It won't be considered as your design. It won't be considered as something you design yourself. So this is another thing we need to be wary of. We can't just we can't just take somebody's image and make some minor changes to them and call it our own design. Unless and until you have created something from scratch, it cannot be called as your own design. And if you're doing something like this, you can get into trouble by the designer. They can ask you to take the design down. Maybe it might be your most popular t-shirt. Maybe it might be your most popular design. But if the designer finds out, they can ask you to take down the design and uh, probably give them the amount you earned from the sales. It could be anything. So this is the second thing that you need to be wary of. So what else? So another mistake that I see a lot of people make is they start using PNG files as an SVG file. So we covered the difference between the PNG and an SVG file on the first day, on the first live session. So I'm not going to go into depth for today. If you guys missed that session, you can go ahead and watch that once this live session is over. So once you start using a PNG, you restrict yourself to a lot of things. Like when you're using an SVG file, you can work with layers, you can work with different colors, you can change the placement of certain elements. But if you are working with a PNG file, you don't see the file in popping up in different layers. If you go back to my previous live session, you'll see that in design space, you can easily spot the difference between a PNG and an SVG file. PNG does not have layers. SVG has layers, which allows you to cut in multiple colors. But with a PNG, there's only one layer and you can only cut in one layer. So these are some of the mistakes I see very commonly going around when it comes to using SVG files. And then people start, when they think that the design is pretty good, they start selling those designs, right? So a lot of people would create certain designs for their t-shirts and somebody would just suggest, oh, why don't you sell the SVG for this design? And then you go ahead and upload that design, and then you realize that you are actually not doing something right, because you have just taken somebody else's design and you have modified it, and now you are selling it, and you can get into trouble for something like that. So a lot of time people also like to sell some of their designs, like everybody knows like SVGs are the bomb right now. It's very easy to make money on autopilot using SVG cut files, right? So a lot of people also like to sell the SVG designs for t-shirts. So, and they start creating those designs by just following simple YouTube tutorials, and they don't get the right kind of feedback, like what their design looks like and what they need to do to improve those designs, and what are the customers actually looking for. So once you start relying on YouTube videos and you don't get any external feedback from an expert, you end up creating designs that are very basic and something people would not actually want to buy. Because right now, the crafting industry is very sophisticated. They want designs that actually look like they're made by designers. Nobody wants to buy designs that they think they could make on their own, something they can just put together in 2 minutes using a cool font. Nobody wants to buy a design like that. People want beautiful artistic designs, and to create those designs, you always need to, first of all, master the illustration software. Secondly, you need to have an expert's opinion. So a lot of times I see people, they create a design and then they go to Facebook groups to ask for feedback. And the problem there is that barely anyone in the Facebook groups has the experience to in selling SVGs, in designing SVGs. Like, all those designers are busy designing. They don't have time to participate in these Facebook groups and provide you feedback, the right kind of feedback that you need from an expert's point of view. So when you don't get an expert's opinion on your designs, you don't know what's wrong with your design. You just rely on ordinary crafters who don't know how to create profitable SVGs which will actually make money. So once you don't have that feedback, it becomes really difficult to create designs that are actually gonna sell in your shop, right? So, and that is one of the reasons why a lot of designers don't make money from their SVG shops, because their designs are very basic. They design based off of what they learn from free YouTube videos, and free YouTube videos don't teach you in depth. They just give you the overall basic stuff, and it's not the time to make basic stuff. This is the time to create beautiful, sophisticated designs so that people actually fall in love with your designs and actually buy from you, right? So once you start creating basic designs, you don't get any sales, and then you're stuck in one place for months and months and months. So this is one of the most common mistakes I see that new SVG shop owners are making. So these are some of the mistakes that you need to avoid when you are creating SVGs for t-shirts or creating SVGs to sell in your shop. So keep those things in mind and try to avoid all these mistakes when you're designing. And once you start thinking about this, once you start putting more effort in your designs, you'll see eventually that your designs get popular and something that people actually want to work with. So I'm just going to do a quick recap. The 4 mistakes that I see that a lot of people make is: number 1, they take images off of Google, which is wrong, because images are not free for us to use. They belong to the original creator, and we need to get their permission before we start using those images. Second thing is, what a lot of people do is they take bits and pieces of different designs and put them together and call them as their own. No, you cannot do that. You cannot just modify somebody's images and use them as your own. All right, this is a big no-no. Third thing is, anybody taking notes? What's the third thing? Yeah. Third thing, considering PNG and SVG as a same kind of image. No, PNG and SVG are totally different. If you don't know the difference, go ahead and watch my first videos to understand the difference between an SVG and a PNG file. Trust me, once you have that done, it will become much more easier to work with your Cricut. You will get rid of a lot of frustration once you clearly understand the difference between an SVG and a PNG. The 4th mistake that I see a lot of people make is they don't get feedback. Actually, 5 mistakes. 4th mistake is relying on YouTube videos to create your basic SVGs to sell in your shop. So if you keep on relying on YouTube videos, if you keep creating basic designs, it's going to be very difficult to get sales, because this is the time to make sophisticated designs. All right. Number 5 is not getting an expert's opinion. If you don't have an expert's opinion on your designs, you don't know what you're doing wrong. You don't know what's going on with your designs, and If you don't know what's wrong, you cannot fix it, and then you can't expect to get sales. So these are some of the mistakes that you need to avoid. And if you're interested in learning to design professional quality SVGs, oopsie. So sorry about that. If you're interested in learning to design professional quality SVGs that cut really smoothly on your Cricut, if you want to learn about what kind of fonts to use, how to pair different fonts, then sign up for my masterclass on Saturday. It's going to be a 4-hour workshop where you get to design SVGs with me during the whole session. So if you're interested, sign up via the link in the description. And if you're on Instagram, just message me to join the masterclass. All right, we just have 20 spots left. We just have 20 spots because I want it to be a very inclusive, a very exclusive event where you get instant access to me to ask questions and everything. And which is why we have a limit of 20 people in the workshop. So if you're interested, sign up now and I'll see you in the class. All right, that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining. I will come back tomorrow and I will talk about the types of SVGs that are profitable, that are currently in demand right now. So stay tuned for tomorrow's live session. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.